infrastructure, if you look at our budget, it is all about what we do as a school. And if we don't address what we do as a school, I don't think we can really address what we are as an organization or a structure. And as I'm presenting here, our group presented what I'm going to present to you to our board. And I kind of started at the big picture, and the board was like, how'd you get to this idea? How'd you get to this idea? How'd you get to this idea? And so then when I presented to them all, I spent an hour saying how we got to this idea, and got done. Scott goes, "You spent a long time talking about getting here." So I'm going, okay, where do we go in presenting to you? So I'm going to pretty much jump to the big picture, but that's the background. That's our our storming, our norming of our group was we spent a lot of time talking about the structure of college, what we are, and what we could be, and anytime we start talking about this, it's so easy to look at being critical of what's happened and where we're at and all those kind of things. And I'll be the first to say it's me. Anything I can say about the college or where we've gone as a conference, it reflects on me as a member of the conference, of me not having an opportunity of being on the board. I am a product of Oregon Bible College, and so when I talk about what we could be doing in the Bible College, and say, well, are you criticizing all these people who came out of Bible College? Well, I'm one too. So, and I wouldn't change a thing in my life. I mean, I'd still go to OBC right out of high school just because I wouldn't want to risk not having the wife I have, or those kids I have, or the places I've lived, and I'm very happy with that. But at the same time, we want to look at, are we opening up the opportunities and the options and chances for things to happen that are in a bigger way. And from the time I went into the ministry, I can remember talking to Adam Anderson. So this is, 1982, 83, and saying, it's got to be different. What in the world am I doing, 25 years old, pastoring a church where every person here is a more mature Christian than I am, and how did I get here in this place, and what can we be doing to have a more mature ministry? So anyways, we presented what we developed to the board of directors, and the board of directors gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and present this to you. So everything I'm doing and saying is still in the working on stage. If nothing's been acted on, the board did not accept it, approve it, say this is what we're doing, but permission to pass this on to you as the ministers, us as the ministers, to see if what we're talking about resonates with you. And everything I say, it will impact a lot of people and entities in the conference. Definitely the ministers, even the MRB. It will affect what we do in licensing, the MALT as the ministers. We're talking about Project Up being involved in some things. It will affect them. They have not signed off on anything that we're talking about. It will affect our student body. It'll affect our local churches. There's lots of people that will need to be brought into the picture on this. So there's a lot that will need to happen. And nothing. So anything I say or talk about, it's not like these people said, yes, we will jump on this. Yes, we will do this. It'll be part of getting it done to get the buy-in that we need on these things. So now we're jumping to the end, and it's something we developed that we called the journey. And the journey is a 2-year program of ministerial studies and experience. Came to the picture of let's get a 2-year defined program for people with a certain level of ministry background, education background, maturity, that will be focused on developing a ministry. So a 2-year program of ministerial studies and experience. We're looking at this being cohort-based, meaning that that there will be a group of people who go through this process. That's what we're talking about as a cohort. So we will have a group of, we hope when we're ready to start that there'll be at least 3 people, maybe as many 5 people, working together to go through this journey of practical ministry experience. It will happen at multiple sites. And so while we might begin practicing and working on it with Cornerstone right here, when it's launched in 2017, we hope to be at a site other than Atlanta. We want to go to the idea of being able to provide this educational experience in multiple sites. It will then, the education will be based with both distance learning and seminars. Because it will be a cohort of 3 to 5 people going to this multiple site, it's still very possible that it'll be a mix of the distance environment where the 3 to 5 people would together be at one place for a classroom lecture. Would be doing it together, so they would have the experience like being in class together. But the instructor might be Skyping in from Atlanta or personally present there, just options that could happen there. We want to raise the level of classes to the level of what you would call a 300, 400 course in undergrad or master's level. And if you really look at in the education world, the difference between a 300, 400 class, a master's class, and even a PhD class is really the difference is what's expected of the student. That you'll be looking at similar material, but you'll be expecting more. Maybe more reading, more higher quality of writing, more writing. But that's the level. So if we get the classes raised up to this 300, 400, one of the things you say when you say 300 to 400 means that these will be at a professional level. That a person who's planning on being a practitioner in this field will use the learning that they're doing to be able to carry out their work. And what that would mean in terms of the Bible college, and I think we're still going to need a lot of looking at curriculum. But instead of, for example, studying the book of Romans, it'll be more of a hermeneutical approach, how to study, how to interpret, how to use tools that are available, how to read a commentary, how to understand background where people are coming from, all the things that would take to be able to go forward in life using the things that you learn there. So that's the idea, is that will be raised to, for lack of a better word, a professional level of education in the journey. And we're hoping to begin a remote site in 2017. So we're hoping to be able to do this in 2017. If there's no students, it won't happen. It's a situation where I think we have the opportunity to put it in place, work toward it, and see if it happens. I will comment, and I was on the board of directors when we started, a transition of hoping to do some major things in the conference and the college, and I think the biggest single strategical mistake was in thinking that by putting an infrastructure in place, it would happen. And so money was placed on salaries, and the infrastructure was built, and lots of money was spent, and it did not raise what we were doing as an organization. In many ways, things did not change significantly, even though we now have much more expensive infrastructure. And then the sad thing was we didn't evaluate very well as we went along, and so adjustments weren't made when it wasn't happening. But this is, as I see it, it's the opposite of approach. You know, it's not going to be terribly expensive to move to this, but we're going to see if 2 years from now it'll work. If we got the people, if we got the place for it. Okay, so what is the path to the journey? And so we'll look, first of all, the traditional path would be as like a traditional college student. What we have to do is someone graduates from high school and goes to the Bible college. The traditional path, I'll just say the three different things we're looking at. Traditional path, a graduate path, and that's talking about a person who's just received a 4-year degree, and then a transitional path. And by a transitional path, I mean person who is changing careers. And Joe just asked you how many seniors do you have in your and so I think through it, well, during I've been at Gatesville since 2009, we've had one person graduate from high school. We've had 7 people retire, and 5 of them are younger than me.
Should have had their jobs.
Yeah.
My little brother was the first of the Demmitts to retire. You had to get shot to do it, but
Most of us do get shot.
yeah. No, but think about that. Think about that. One high school graduate, we had 7 people retire. 5 of them are younger than me. 5 of them are younger than me. One couple, they make more money in retirement than they were making on their paycheck. I mean, it's you know, that's out there. So, and these are people younger than me still. They're still younger than me, of course. They're in their 50s.
They will remain that way.
And they will remain that way. And so I see, and that's what I think we have a big need for. Okay, so here's the traditional path then. Person will attend Atlanta Bible College. I just made this start working on it. Hooked this up yesterday. I had to experiment with every kind of bouncy thing that the PowerPoint would do, so obviously you're not supposed to do that. So this is the person who would attend Atlanta Bible College. The first year program will be a foundation program. It's already there. It's already being changed in that over the last 15 years, we've gone to offering a lot of 2-hour classes, and we're getting that back to 3 hours. A lot of the 2-hour classes, it was just giving more options. It was somewhat of a marketing thing. There's a lot of connections with you know, the community and more things that we can offer. And so, more classes you offer, the more likely you are to have a person take a class. But a lot of things have changed toward a 2-hour class. And we see this regardless of whether we do what we're talking about here. We needed to get that back. I can't remember. Bob, you have 8 preps this semester? How many preps? 8? He's prepping for 8 classes. That's an awful lot. And you've got 4 people taking 5 classes, right? Yeah. And so lots of work for the same people. That needs to be revamped anyway. So the foundational program is already in place, but getting with 3 years, and basically it's going to be basic Bible knowledge, and everything that we're doing needs to be able to be accessed through distance, even if it's not the primary way it's taught, because we're going to need that as an option. And so the first year is a foundational program. In the summertime, we were looking at offering an intensive ministry experience. We've already been talking with UP about this. They're desirous of being able to do something bigger than their 1 week, 2 week, with more mature students. So maybe something of up to a month. We talked about the option of a month-long Africa trip, a major ministry experience that would not be limited to Atlanta Bible College students. People who are wanting to explore ministry would be able to do this. But if you're in the Atlanta Bible College path, part of your program will be a summer intensive ministry experience. The second year program, which again is mostly in place, is intro to more practical ministry skills. It's not maybe quite as defined as I've shown it here, but intro to preaching, intro to teaching, all those things, personal evangelism, different things like that fall into this category. That's the second year intro to practical skills. One of the things we discussed was the idea of an Israel trip as being somewhat of a reward if you actually do the 2 years and you're getting ready to go into the journey. That a trip to Israel could be a reward, and then we find out some people think that's more like a punishment. It's not necessarily that that's in stone, but that was the idea of some kind of carrot there. And if you're in the ABC path, an education plan, and the idea is that a person who starts at Atlanta Bible College will have a plan toward either an accredited associate's degree within the context of getting their 4-year degree from the Bible College, or a plan to go toward a master's degree after graduating Bible College, or a skilled trade. And that is just simply reflecting what we see as going to be a greater and greater reality, the need for bivocational ministry. And so the idea that when you're going through the Bible college, you will also be, you'll be graduating with something along that line. And again, it's a plan. A person's plan could be, I'm going to do a master's when I get done with this. Well, then there's not a whole lot else to. If it's have an associate's degree during that time, get into courses. There'll be some courses they're going to need to take from a public, from an accredited institution, because we're not going to offer those courses, and they'll need those as part of their degree program for the Bible college. But that's the plan is, or skilled trade. I'm going to be a carpenter. I'm going to be a plumber. I'm going to have this as tent making industry. So that's the plan. If you're high school or going into the Bible college, here's the plan. This is where you're going, and it's not toward just pastoral ministry. It can still be toward that 2-year program. Can still be the maturing time, the experience time, the just getting a foundation before you go off to college. All the reasons people go, but it's going to be a defined plan. The graduate path then will be for. I learned to always go that direction. Okay, so the graduate path will be for college graduates exploring ministry. We were talking to a lot of people as we were putting things together. I don't think Gracie Pack will mind me mentioning it by name, but Gracie said, I graduated from college. I went back home, lived with my parents, waited tables, and worked at Home Depot, decided what I wanted to do, and then he went to seminary. My own daughter took a year between getting her doctorate in pharmacy and her finishing her undergrad. There's lots of people who graduate with an undergrad degree who still are not certain as to what they're going to do in life and where they're going to go. And so by having this defined 2-year journey program and being at a professional level, a person who graduates from college and still wants to explore ministry, we want this to be an attractive option. And that's why we would explore the idea of it being able to be offered as a master's degree. And there's probably more likelihood that we would one day be able to offer an accredited master's degree than that we would ever be able to offer a regionally accredited undergraduate degree. But there's some options there that we could be looking at. But the idea is a person who graduates from college and wants to then at that point in time pursue ministry, already having a degree. College graduates exploring ministry, and they might only do 1 year. You know, it's a 2-year journey. They might only do 1 year to see it. I think that needs to be an option. They would need to have a basic Bible competency, and so it could be that they'll need to take that foundational core. They might have taken the foundational core while they've been going through their own undergrad program, but there'll need to be some kind of a basic Bible competency and a minimum of 1 year in this program. And then for the transitional, to go into the transitional phase, you need to be a person with significant life experience. So they might not have another college degree, but they've lived life. They've been out in the quote real world, know a little bit about what it's about. They're probably married or never going to be married or whatever, but they've kind of set their path for life, and they're still looking and open to ministry. We will, and we need to have this well defined, and we would, if this gets bought into, we'll start working on identifying a group of people who actually want to take a serious look at a big career change to ministry. And so there'll be a transitional cohort. You know, right now I served on the MORB for a long time. Every person who wants to come into ministry outside of the traditional path, they've kind of worked their own thing. It's all been independent. And there's a lot of, I wish I knew what other people were doing and those kind of things. So we developed a transitional cohort, 3 people maybe, who want to prepare for ministry and get into this program. So of course then the education part of it needs to be able to be accessible, distance-based, what we're doing in the journey. We still would have a seminar base, and I think it'd be important to have several seminars a year where every person in the program would come to one place and be part of that program. And then they'll do their practical experience in the local church. Okay. So why do this? Why do this? First of all, I think we need a better path for graduates and transitioners. Right now, I think that everything in general that we do is oriented toward a young person graduating from high school and going to Bible college. Most of our promotions, most of what we consider our first target audience, our primary audience is that group. And I think we need a better path for graduates and transitioners where they can actually think the college wants me, people are desirous of me taking a look at ministry, and for this to be an attractive thing. I think we also need a better defined path for the traditionals. That those who come to Bible college, if they're really wanting to be on a ministry track, then there's a very defined path. It's not just come here and see what happens, but there's a path in front of them, and still, we're grown people, we're going through phases of life, but see that there is a path and a place to go. Opportunities for ministry, and this includes like the summer opportunities for ministry, but the one cycle we always deal with when we talk about people say we need more graduates in the Bible college, and we can also say where are they going to go? What churches are there that can pay and support a person in pastoral ministry? Are we not basically keeping up with the need as we are? And so the idea would be that, and here's a dynamic that I hope would happen with this. Just as you look at the Oregon Church, the East Oregon Church, and the vibrant servants and leaders in those churches who are there because we had Oregon Bible College there for all those years. And you can go here to Cornerstone and look at vibrant people who are part of the church who came because of the Bible college. We had Denise here and Jim and lots of people like that. Well, if we can start doing the training 2 years at a time in Southern Ohio, in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in South Bend, Indiana, Omaha, Nebraska, moving and moving, what dynamic could happen in each one of those regions with people going there and interested in ministry, interacting with people, expanding the ministry of a local church, perhaps starting new churches, perhaps having alternative where you got a second service, all the kind of things that could happen. Bring that dynamic to more regions. And right now we envision it being one place at a time. And what if we had the wonderful problem of we need 5 locations? And what would that be doing in ministry with only 15 people preparing for ministry? The dynamic that could happen in the conference. I see this as a real opportunity. I think it recognizes the need for vocational ministry. I can't see it going any other direction. The simple economics of today versus 40 years ago, it's just more and more difficult for especially a young family to go into pastoral ministry. Those who can keep their spending within the confines of what they can be paid by a church. That's workable, but that's I think there's going to be more and more need for bivocational ministry, and it opens the door to a possible graduate degree. As I've been talking about this, anything that's resonating with anybody that sees this as being, and the positives, I'm going to look at the challenges in just a second, but anything here that resonates with you, do we need to be done at noon, Scott? Okay. Jeff?
I appreciate the emphasis on graduate transitional. I think targeting people that have already got a significant life history is important. So I appreciate that emphasis.
Other thoughts? Daryl?
My question is how much weight does an associate's degree carry today? A high school senior can walk out of high school with an associate's degree from college and go into a bachelor's program right away.
Yeah.
I just don't see the significance there at all.
Hey, well, actually, my son just got an associate's degree, and he has a pretty good job possibilities because of associates. So there's different fields. But you're right in that. But the idea is it's going to be something done and completed. So, here's your big dilemma. You get out of Bible college and you're going to pursue further education. If you're going to pursue another bachelor's degree, then you get into all the issues of trying to transfer credits and things like that. And Arizona State does not want to accept Mesa Community College. I mean, nobody wants to accept somebody else's credit because that's all money to them. As opposed to, if you're accepting your degree, then you're moving into the next step. You look at going into a master's program, they're trying to get me in. They want me in, they want my money. They're not worried. I'm not saying I'm going to take less classes because I went to OBC. I'm going to be in a whole program. So it's a different picture. And an associate's degree can give you a leg up. If you got an accredited associate's degree, you can enter into bachelor's as a junior. So that's the difference. If you got that accredited, there is a definite step. Most of us will find, if you wanted seminary education, most of us could go into a master's degree right away. I had to get all A's, for a certain amount of time in my master's. That was my probation. But, that's where I'm at. Both my brothers, PhD teachers in universities, their undergrad is the Bible college. So, that's sociology and marriage and family. So, there's a path. And so that's the idea. And most of it is to have a plan. To have a plan, that they're working towards something. Scott.
I just want to make a brief comment. We're not real happy with where we're at. I really appreciate the fact that the committee is looking outside the box, looking at some things differently. Now, whether this turns out to be what we do or not, maybe another issue, but I'm glad we're taking some fresh, innovative looks at things. And, you know, by doing that, we may come back and say, what we're doing is the best and so forth, but just want to commend them for at least making us open up and think about
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah. I was just gonna say something to the same effect, that the timing's right for this. And I'm not voting one way or the other on this, whether it's right or wrong or whatever, but to people look at this bigger picture, I think it's just really great that we have young people who want to commit their life, and it's hard to do it in a structure where you're not sure where you're going on the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
And with a lot of other students who, more than not sure, they're not committed at all. This changes that focus, it changes that picture.
Sean?
I'm thinking about students that don't necessarily feel a call to be a pastor, but also don't really feel a call to invest a whole bunch of money in a traditional college, and they have this in-between time right out of high school where their godly parents say, why don't you go down to the Bible college for a year, grow up a little bit, learn the Bible, it's going to be good for you, spend time with other Christians who are taking their faith seriously. And where would that kind of a student who's not necessarily even looking to necessarily go into ministry, where would they fit into this scheme?
I think that the foundation year would be there. You know, that foundation year is a good basis year.
That would still be the traditional
Yeah.
track, but
Yeah.
not
And we already
not
have.
the cohort. You see what I'm saying? It'd be a little bit.
Yeah, they might not have to join. Well, in the cohort, you know, in theory, you know, the people who start the Bible college together could very well, you know, be that cohort. You know, Steve, Tom, and I could have been the cohort. You know, the Three Musketeers. We did it. We're still in ministry a million years later. You know,
Three what?
Three Musketeers. But yeah, they might not be defined as being on the path. You're right. But we
There
would
would
like.
be space for this kind of a student.
Yeah, I think it'd still be space.
I mean, I think I'm going to do that. You know, I'm thinking about my own kids. They're a little young still, but you know, I mean, it's a great opportunity because I myself and many people I know in my church and outside my church, they bomb that first year of college because they're just not ready for it yet. They don't have any sense of how to handle you know, time management and things like that. And to have a place to go where they can be around people that aren't into drinking and drugs and rock and roll and, well, rock and roll's okay, but
I should be doing Thanks, Rufus, real quick.
Yeah, I don't know about real quick, but anyway.
I'll make it quick.
You know, I like where you're going with this. Just want to make sure I'm clear. This will not have an impact on the direction that we're already going as a college, focusing on community students, because, just to point out a couple of things, community students are people who did not originate from Church of God General Conference as a child, which is a large portion of the people who are working with the college and moving it forward.
Yeah.
Anthony Budget is one. Sean Finnegan, who was here this week, is another. Dustin Smith is another. Steve and Sam On is another. Myself, another. We believe that direction is what's going to keep the college going and help the college maintain as you seek to encourage what seems to be a lack of participation from Church of God students. So I just want to make sure that we don't deviate from what we're already doing.
And that's actually one of the challenges, looking at the challenges. The first one was simply, if we build it, will they come? You know, we put it together, will we have 2017, you know, at least one student? Right now we have, Talon's kind of up into the upperclassmen, and then Jacob and Jesse are upper class. So we've got 3 in the total upper class, right? And Bethany's graduated. So, you know, so that's 3 right now. So will we have 3 in 2 years? That's you know, the question. So if we build it, will they come? And then the second is community students prefer the traditional education model, and that's one of the things we're looking at. And so what happens to the community student model that we've had? Okay? And I mean, the outstanding plus is we wouldn't have Rufus, we wouldn't have Steve without having been here and opening up to community. That's, to me, you know, it's like, I'm glad we came to Atlanta just for those reasons. Those are the pluses that we gain out of that. Now, let me, we have to get our core focus determined and see how that works with the community students. So for example, not offering hundreds of classes just to get more people from the community here. We need to get our classes down to 3-hour classes. So that's kind of a change right there. At the 300, 400 level, can we raise the classes to the level that challenges our students? And so that's the case there. And there's not a lot of community students that are in the 300, 400 level anyways. Here's the other thing we think about, because I think what we've demonstrated is that there's a desire for community college level Christian education here up in Mora and now in McDonough. So what happens if, at the site where the cohort is, you advertise to the community, Monday night, here's a basic Bible class. And taught it there, you might have cohort people being facilitators in it. They watch it they come together and watch from Atlanta, same class is being taught down here, and you pick up 10 people in Ohio. And then when the cohort moves away from Ohio, they're still, now they've already got a reputation. And you move to Grand Rapids, and you get the same thing going. And now you got 10 people in Grand Rapids, and 10 people, is there not an opportunity to expand what we're doing as community-based education if we go from here? Right now, as I see it, this is only my perspective, the community students help our bottom line, but also they impact our infrastructure and our cost. And so it's like, as long as we've got this current infrastructure, it's helpful to have the community students, and they definitely help us meet the cost. But if we changed our